see.
I can say what I want.
Okay. Well, what do you have to say, Raz?
Oh, nothing. You got this.
Welcome to LCS Waiting Room and also our Lunar Revel Day here at the LCS. Right at the top of show, did you guys know? Champions Queue, back.
Bang.
I learned this morning when the tweet went out.
Same. So there's an all-new season of Champions Queue, which means all new prizes. The top 100 players win medals and t-shirts. Top 50 players win a helmet medal and their own custom jacket. And then the winner will receive a full-size wearable helmet designed by Hoku Props, the same guys that made Tyler 1's Challenger medals. And they'll be streaming that the building of that helmet this Saturday from 11 to 3 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/HokuProps. So good luck to everyone in Champs Queue. I hope to see some very cool games. Now we're going to take a look at the LCS standings, which we said that yesterday would go to chalk. It absolutely did not. And we now, FlyQuest obviously still in first, C9 and EG tied for second. We have a big four-way tie in fourth place. Down towards the bottom of the standings, Team Liquid Honda in 8th, Immortals Progressive in 9th, and Dignitas in 10th.
I will say something is really off about the LCS this year.
Okay, what has it been?
There are 4 teams at 4 and 4, tied for 4th.
And one of them's not Team Liquid.
And it's not Team Liquid.
They're trying to get there.
They're below the 4th line.
That's crazy. That's the real.
This is the only day you could have it, whether it's 8 games played.
Yeah.
You can be 4-4 and tied for 4th.
Wow.
If they just won yesterday, but then it would ruin the synergy. There'd be 5 teams.
But did they lose to someone that beat them to make it?
Probably.
Because they would have knocked someone else out.
Yeah, probably something.
Yeah.
That's the real point.
But it was EG yesterday,
I know.
so it would have been 5
Do
teams.
we have an LCS circle?
Let's just restart the season.
I don't know.
Also, our power rankings look bad.
Surely you could make one because TSM has lost to a lot of people and they beat FlyQuest, so you can.
CLG's been really inconsistent.
Yeah, you can make it.
Yeah, you could make it. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I'm just committed to it. I haven't done it.
Now we're committed. Anyone out there that
Someone
wants
get
to put
1,000
this
upvotes on
Find the
Reddit.
Circle of Suck for the
People
LCS.
love Circles of Sucks.
I will
for
make
the LCS.
I will make a helmet out of like toilet paper roll. That will be your prize. All right, that's my prize to you if you can get this done.
You will get a special Raz helmet.
There it is.
There we go.
That's a winner.
So one of the huge discussions I think we're having is kind of like who is the definitive second best team, right,
Ooh.
in the LCS underneath FlyQuest. And Raz, I heard, I don't know if this is EG positive or not, because I think some of EG's games have been shaky.
Yes.
But I heard you have something for us.
I do.
On
and
Evil Geniuses.
It is positive towards Evil Geniuses.
Okay.
So we have that as a win. For me, it's going to be a focus towards Inspired as a jungler. Now, this should be it. I will just press play and figure it out. I'll just like go back just to make sure. There it is. So this is the very beginning point at the start. So if I were to flashback, rewind earlier before this play, 3:30, we have vision of Closer getting Scuttle on the bot side of the map. So they have the timer down right. So what does Inspired do? A jungler that we all respect as one of the smartest junglers in the league. He ends up moving towards this. As you can see, this is the point of view, the fog of war for 100 Thieves. So Sejuani recognizes that Scuttle is running out, paths towards bot lane, and the one point of thing for bot lane is that they have few wards. They had a ward in their own bush here, and they had the Scuttle Crab as vision to recognize that they were safe and that they could start to push up. In a pushing wave, the one thing that they do see, I'll rewind it just a little bit for you people at home, and I'll blow up the mini map. They do see him, Jojo, going bot side. There we go. So they see him going bot side. That's their point of reference. It's like, okay, a play is being made. And I'll blow up the minimap one more time just to show that Closer is pathing towards bot lane with that information. But then we go back. The one thing they don't recognize is Inspired coming, looping out behind them to push them up towards Jojo Pyun that they had vision of. And so it is that point of expectation, an expectation that, okay, they see Jojo, that's what they're worried about. They don't have vision of Sejuani. They had vision of the river that they were in the clear, but that's what Evil Geniuses is so damn good at doing consistently from week 1 to this point is looking for ganks towards bot lane, timing them extremely well. This is probably the best example of them timing a gank bot lane to just get them off guard. And something that we should be looking forward to with Evil Geniuses in the future, how smart they play around vision.
I think their early game is really great.
Yeah.
I know at the end of last week and then again on JLXP, I was like, yeah, I think it's definitely EG for like, you know, they're so thoughtful about the way they do things. But then I think what I'd have to amend that to is like mid-game, some stuff happens, and I think that's where you see them get kind of shaky.
I think they're an insanely talented team, but both their games this week have not been clean. There was obviously the 100 Thieves game, which is that one where it stalled out a little bit in the mid-game when JoJo started getting caught. But then just yesterday, they should have lost that game by every conceivable metric. They are so far behind, and Team Liquid have a number of blunders. And yes, of course, EG is making plays to put like those on the table. But at the same time, like you should lose that game 9 times out of 10. Yeah,
it's weird because C9 and EG are the two teams that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And one of the most solid games EG had was them beating C9. But then the last 2 games they've had with the front door against 100 Thieves and the miracle they had against Team Liquid have been worse. So I kind of want to say C9 and just explain away the head-to-head as a best-of-1, which actually when I look back in history of any time there's been like, oh, this team beat this team in a best-of-1, and then they play in a series, that one game means nothing.
Exactly.
So it's the overall strength of the team. And to me, Cloud9 has actually been a more consistent overall team so far than EG.
I would agree with that when it gets like 20 minutes onwards, because yes, that's where a lot of games for Evil Geniuses start failing. But the biggest point of success, which is repeatable for this team, is yes, their bot lane will consistently get leads. And also Inspired will consistently find angles towards bot lane, even with how much information teams get in his early gank timers bot side. They work because of how well he is as a player. And I think people have expected that from Inspired. They expect that from Vulcan, that they worked well together. And the surprising nature of their mid games is what people will focus on. I think they're focusing on it too much.
So it's a really interesting duality between C9 and EG, where EG's early game is incredible, but then they fumble in the mid game a little bit.
Yeah.
Hot take. EG has the best mid-bot combo bot side of the map in the league. Yeah, so like between Inspired, Vulcan, and JoJo, and even FBI, you know, but like those 3 are the kind of the playmakers people always talk about in early game. That's the best combo in the league between those 3 positions.
Yeah.
And they do get huge leads because of it. I think you can say like, oh, FlyQuest turns online when Prince hits 2 items and they become scarier, or like Impact's a little bit more consistent than Someday in some situations, or maybe Fudge is the biggest playmaker in topside. Like you can have those arguments, but I think those 3 positions, EG has that best combo, which gives them those big early games.
I would agree with that.
And not a hot take then.
Yeah. But, well,
hot take. Agreed.
Hot take, universal truth.
I think people would disagree that, and use FlyQuest as an example, because just how strong FlyQuest has looked through playing jungle 2 bot lane. The only question that I would say is that there are some times, and it's not a fault of their own, is like I think there'll be times where their 2v2 will like lose out trades, and like Winston will fall pretty low within the lane. But I think EG just has strong pound-for-pound players that worked. They can just slot in any AD carry, and FBI said as much, which helps FBI really perform. So I agree with your point.
I heard that we have an NA Circle Suck already.
Oh,
I knew it.
One already?
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
All right, thank you. Onion on sale.
They guarded it?
I'm pretty sure this checks out.
Oh, wait.
There's a little
Guarded
blip
it.
with the...
Oh, because Dick hasn't beaten Golden Guardians. There's no way.
No, there has to be another combination.
Yeah, so that one actually doesn't work yet. I did want to talk about TL a little bit, and it relates to today because TL, like we're talking about the second best team in the league. TL, we think, should have beaten EG yesterday. TL plays C9 today, so the game's not going to be free. Just give me a second to pull up the clip. I have their lack of Baron setup. And watching this again, I did get a little depressed. So just...
Oh, no.
As a TL homer would.
A little bit, because I put them 3rd place in my preseason power rankings, and now they're, what were they, 8th? So when I first saw this, this whole play, this setup happened in a replay, and I'll even go forward and then go back again. Like, they end up pushing, and then, like, Maokai gets behind them and lands an ultimate while someone's not there. And I'm like, oh, maybe they just didn't have eyes on Maokai, and they should have gone a little slower. But I'm going to point out several things about I'm just wondering why are they playing so fast. So at the moment, they do have Baron, but the gold is 47K to 46K. So realistically, they're actually not that far ahead in a 5v5 fight. And the goal for this Baron is pretty much just get gold and then play from an advantage the next time objectives set up. But to me, they're playing this like they're trying to end the game or something where they're not in the position. And it shows with the way they actually try and set this up. So mainly pay attention to the minimap here. And generally speaking, when you're setting up these 4v4s they literally did see Maokai, so they know he's behind him.
Yeah.
And they have 2 people bottom. They don't actually have an advantage on the map right now that isn't just empowered Baron minions. So you need to slow play this, let the minions hit the turret, take pot shots when you can, but they push so far up. And remember, Maokai is over here. So to me, this whole play is just off. Like, they can slow play this, but they need a human champion up here to mark Maokai and not just let him freely ult or walk to them over the wall. And then core, like, when you have a support clearing vision, follow these lines, you have a bot laner that's in Narnia, and you have 3 people pushed up this far, you would have to be so far ahead for this to be a winning position. So you just let this play out. They literally just get ulted over the wall. Harry has no one to protect him. There was no one to block the Maokai ultimate. There was no one to stop anyone from running towards him. And then even now, the discoordination on this team, the play has failed. It's very clearly failed. Look at the minimap. Like, Summit is here. His lane opponent is here. Just run away. But they continued to fight. Pyosik flash ults in a 2v4. And then Summit still
Mininar,
fights.
baby.
That's like 5 or 6 things in a row. This situation, similar variants of it, actually continued to play out between the game. So I saw them in the hallway walking out after this game. They were very disappointed in themselves.
Yeah.
I hope they can pull it together, but you can just see they are on so many different pages, both on the state of the game, but even just the state of fights, which is what's weird to me, because any Diamond 80K, like any Diamond player can see, oh yeah, the 1v4, I probably shouldn't do this. And we've seen these players not do these things in a lot of situations, but when they have been together on stage, they're just doing those things.
Yeah, I mean, even on that point, like the J4, there's only engage from the Maokai because the other 3 have no engage options.
Yeah.
He can be on top of the Maokai with
Just
the J4.
be on the Maokai, and if the Maokai tries to come in, the J4 moves over there, and you just kill him.
And you have a trap line in front, and you can do all these like different kinds of setups. And then one thing that is true for a lot of teams is learning how to, like, the play's dead. It's stop the bleeding, stop making it worse. Someone got caught, let it go. Something like that. And here it's like, okay, a good engage happened, they got a kill. You could have got out with Yawn.
Yeah, a
Summit.
couple guys still have Baron.
Yep, and you're like,
got a turret, whatever.
yeah, and it sucked, but like whatever. But then they just keep going in, and they've been doing this consistently all year long.
Yeah, and if you lose confidence in how the games have been going, because they have been taking a lot of losses, sometimes you overcorrect. Like, for a good example, it's like, hey, if you are playing for inhib turret, I personally would like to just say if we were pushing towards inhib turret, you just move bot, because your vision's already there. You can actually help Gnar take bottom.
You can cut off the
You can
Fiora.
do that as well. Or if the Fiora rotates and you already got the disengage, great. Gnar actually has free hit on bot turret.
It's
But he's
something
rotating.
that they've all done a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Even in Academy, like Harry and Yawn have done that. Summit's obviously done it. Pyosik won a world championship doing similar things. Like, they all know how to do it.
Yes.
But they're just not doing it. It's weird.
It's tough.
It's really sad.
Especially for the players in those moments. So I think at some point, this is where my faith comes in. When you lose a game like this, that triggers the hard conversation.
Yeah.
Where you come out feeling much better about it and perform better on the next day immediately afterwards. So this might be the day where Team Liquid turns it around, because you need games like this. Or hey, that's a possibility too.
Like,
you know.
Or you're like, hey, Whippo, what are you up to?
That.
You tired of casting games yet?
He's not a contract.
He is. He's already on the roster,
Korean.
technically.
But I have faith. Someone's beating people up in lane, and especially this was his best game yet. Actually, out of lane, this was clearly his best game. So I think it'll turn around.
I think the biggest news from yesterday, I am sad about TL, especially with all the like pre-season kind of scrim hype rumors. The biggest thing, TSM being FlyQuest.
True.
FlyQuest no longer
Huge.
undefeated. I pulled a few teamfight clips here from TSM from yesterday. They kind of look like they go even, but these are the 2 where it really felt like TSM was kind of taking over the game. We don't have to like necessarily break the plays down specifically. I think it's cool to cite how Maple on Talia has been fantastic already. We kind of knew that was going to be a great champion for him because it allows him to exert map pressure even when he's not necessarily in the mid lane or when he is in the mid lane and joining up fights. I also love the way that he uses Seismic Shove and then the Chime engage on top of this, or the Chime engage first and then Seismic Shove. I think these 2 worked really well together. I know, Raz, you pointed out Boogie and Chime working really well together. So like the Vi Talia combo is something we saw in the very next game, or in the very previous game from CLG. But I thought it was really cool to see Maple on that pick and him working with Boogie and Chime to kind of be able to engage in some of these fights.
100%. Like the funniest thing too is that I think Rakan is Chime's best champion.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
it is just like having worked with it too. Like he is an amazing Rakan player. The flanks that he had were excellent. The side lane plays that he was making with Vi were perfect. His follow-ups, like there's so much I can say with. He is such a great Rakan. So the fact that it's turning into a Zyrakan meta again, I think greatly helps them and their team fighting.
What do you all think? When I first saw that draft, I was like, oh man, they have this giant front line for Prince, and I still had like my FlyQuest goggles on of like, oh yeah, Prince is just amazing and he's gonna carry this game. But I'm looking at the comp there and like Maokai's the only AP, like Sion does like a little bit of magic damage. Who outscaled, like compositionally? Obviously TSM had the early game, but I'm wondering is like how much of that was a draft diff versus Maple and Chime and all them just playing amazingly?
In the moment, I thought it was difficult because like pound for pound, there were some scaling elements towards FlyQuest's draft, but I thought TSM scaled more. And I thought was
because they just have Varus as native.
They have a
character.
well-rounded composition.
But it is
both
well-rounded.
had tank top lanes too, and it's much easier to itemize versus the Jace mid than it is anywhere else. So I thought that made it easier.
I thought, because we had this discussion as we were watching the game, and it was more like holistically TSM, but there are obvious angles for Prince to just pop off on Jinx if he gets one insane fight. She's just such a great late game carry. How do you guys feel about FlyQuest after this? I think they'll be fine.
I still think they're the best team quite easily. I think it's one of those games we talk about a lot. Best of one. There are trap games. Your favorite word, Mark? Trap game. Trap game.
That's cornhole. Was what I always share. Not trap game. What? Why is that my favorite word?
There are some words that, for whatever reason, just stick in my mind. This is what Mark says. Watch out for the trap game.
Trap game?
Yeah, I mean, it is true. I think, like, even Spica said that it's hard to stay focused over a whole season if you are doing extremely well. They're ending their first round robin. They're playing TSM, who they probably, where it's not like the big circle on your calendar kind of thing to this point about a trap game. I do think that there's a reality where it's like they maybe a little lax.
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets ahead of it. Like, I even saw an interview response from Spica on Reddit. I'm sorry, I don't remember currently, I don't remember who wrote it, but they were already asking him questions about, like, how are you gonna, like, stay sharp for international competition? And it's like, dude, we've been a team for 3 weeks. But it's in their head that it's like, oh yeah, we're good now. That's the interview questions. That's our discussions. We're talking about if they go undefeated or not. I'm literally asking Prince if he's going to go undefeated the day before.
True.
Right? Because
you're at fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
You lost FlyQuest their perfect season by bringing it up.
Strikes
But
again.
it's just what happens with, culturally when you are the best record team in the league, and those losses are somewhat inevitable unless you have such a sharp focus to stay on the game.
This sounds like total cope to me. That we're saying that this is FlyQuest overlooking them when we have Maple as the whole reason that they were able to get the win. People were memeing it on Reddit, and I'm sure there's some portion who don't know, but Maple as an underdog is just unbelievably good for whatever reason. And this was like during the height of LCK domination. That's where he kind of got like the LCK killer tag tacked off to him at the start of 2015. 2-0 versus KOO Tigers. Then immediately in the next international tournament, 2-0 versus T1. And then at Worlds 1-1 versus T1 against the best teams in the world. When he was on in the LMS, it's this smaller region, always punching above their weight, finding wins. They did it to TSM too, if you remember. Now that he's on the team.
I remember.
Yeah.
Knocked him out from the wild card, or the qualifying match to get out of group stage. Like, he's continued it too. It's not like it was just like a one-time thing. It's over half a decade of making these kinds of plays happen. So it's like, oh yeah, what do you know? He beat FlyQuest. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah.
He beats favorite teams.
I actually remember even like Asian Rift Rivals where they take it incredibly seriously. But like the LMS region as a whole, we're seeing like kind of like jokingly like, oh, LPL and LCK teams should beat them up. But boom, like Maple takes down Kingzone. Like in the first days of 2018. So it's like it happens. Like Flash Rolls at that time, and specifically Maple, just plays so well when he's viewed as the underdog.
Man, what if GSM wins again today? What if they go what if they start 5-4?
Happens.
Alternatively, I know you had put this cursed thought out into the world, but the idea that TSM beat FlyQuest and then the most LCS thing that would happen would be that they would then lose to Dignitas.
Yeah, the top Reddit comment in the TSM postgame thread is that they would get perfect gamed by Dignitas.
Whoa!
It
It's like 0-8, which is just exactly what you expect from an LCS game.
Pissed off
Oh
Dignitas
my
can take them
God.
down.
Hey, they're sad. Dignitas is the most sad. And I've gotten some comments like, why aren't you talking about Dignitas? It's hard to talk about 0-8 teams a lot of the time, but like for me, really quick with Dignitas, I do not think they're going to go 0-18,
Yep, same.
but I do think they're going to miss the playoffs. That's currently where I'm at with that squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of waiting because I think right now what we've seen from Ignar coming back is positives. Like, as thankfully, Engage Meta is coming in as a support. The Nautilus play that he had in game 1, especially like the kill that he got under a turret on the AD, I thought was really fun. And like, it's nice to have someone who has a strong voice and connection to Santorin, I think is going to make it a lot more easier coming in. And also, new perspective, new voice that can change the wind.
Yeah. I want to see him on Engage supports only.
There it is.
Like, no Lulu. You know,
Rakan,
like,
Alistair,
yeah,
Nautilus.
let's go.
Mumu.
Like,
Yeah.
just completely change it. Because I do think him hopefully working in tandem with Santorin, who I do think has had some, like, we've kind of pointed this out before, but like some good early pathing, right? And good attention to his lanes. And a lot of it has then been transitioning through mid game when they have a lead to keep that lead.
Yeah, especially that Jace game. So they're getting leads now. Like, it is they had a lead when they went up against Cloud9. It's now, hey, we may be losing a lot. It's like middle of the split. We lost that one like TP play. We just need to keep kind of on top of specific points. The fundamentals.
Oh, no.
What do we got here, Leo?
Oh, Leo the Chosen,
Oh,
the
nice.
foldy sheet guy.
For people that don't know, Leo does also the a lot of the foldy sheet stuff on Reddit, and we have used his work before. I thought it would be neat to see where the analysts' 90, 50, 10s were at as we go into the final day of the first round robin. So we did these for the first round robin. Mine are all cursed.
Mine is possible because Prince #1 is really good. It's true.
Yeah.
100 Thieves, they're looking like 100 Frauds a little bit with these last couple games. They could drop again here, and then I'm correct on my 50s.
Less
and
than
then
or equal to
Whippo,
4
I'll need
wins,
to DM
yeah.
him and see if I'm right, if he's gotten any
How many team
off.
offers?
But I can go across the board, all 3.
I really do appreciate the generous scorekeeping as
Yeah.
well.
Very
Yeah,
generous.
I'm a fan of this. Like, EG could still be first.
Yep.
Harry could be better than JoJo Pin, depending on what you're looking at.
That should be a big X.
You never know. You never know.
I will say, when I was talking draft prio, I was thinking it would be as bad as LCK, right? Because I was like, I felt like LCS was just going to look at LCK and constantly do the handshake. We have seen, I think, I'd have to go back because I stopped tracking after, I think, week 2. We've seen more handshakes than fewer with the just trading bot lane and jungle, but it hasn't been as bad as I thought. We'll pull up today's schedule and see how much our opinions have changed based on yesterday's Wild Day. CLG and FlyQuest are up first, followed by Immortals Progressive versus Evil Geniuses, C9 versus TL in the middle of the day, Dignitas versus TSM, and to round it out, Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves, which is actually my most hype matchup.
Oh, Mark!
Mark!
What are you doing, Mark?
Wait, Mark, did you just
You're
What are you
predict
doing, Mark?
In
against
all
of
5,
Yes.
you're
on
doing
purpose?
this.
Mark.
Yes.
purpose.
I wrote them in, and then I said, flip them all. Because yesterday was
I've had
crazy.
this thought. I've had this thought
I
many
definitely
times.
stole it from you because
Yeah.
I looked at what happened yesterday. I said, if TL won that one, that would have been 3 out of 5 going the upset.
Yeah.
It's a long week. It's super week. Things are getting a little crazy. Just flip them all.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a burger flipper.
We're going to
You're
see how that
trolling.
works.
After today, you will be flipping.
I love it.
I love cooking, man. Like, get me in the kitchen.
Cooking is really fun. You should try it. You know who else knows how to cook is Cutie Cinderella, and she'll be joining us after Waiting Room, and she is apparently cooking up something new. I didn't even mean to do that because I did not look at the prompter prior.
Fantastic. Whoops.
FlyQuest versus CLG is coming up next, and for FlyQuest, it's been a dominant start to the spring split.
Okay, I TP there. Can
Okay,
look?
reflect.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me.
They're here, plank. Victor.
Nice.
Can you dash?
Dash.
Just fight, right?
Nice.
Let me
I am smart, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
I want you, okay?
Okay, calm down.
I'll go there. 내가 갈게. I'm
Yeah.
base.
Let's play dash down.
Can you come?
Help. think he died here.
It's okay. It's okay.
Wait, we can fight this.
I'm coming.
Jaya, slow it. We slow.
We slow. No, Rakan ulti can win. I think slow.
Wait, ulti, 2 seconds.
Wait, I'm looking.
Yeah.
Kai'Sa will coming. Where my ult? Go.
Kill.
He hits plasma on the double lift. Now they're coming. Lucio is going to be the first target here for Prince's auto attack. Double lift lets the feathers fly. Prince is putting the bullets in double lift. He takes him down. It's 3 kills for FlyQuest. Oh, Prince arrived.
It's the last day of Super Week. While CLG is feeling good with a 2-0 start, FlyQuest aims to maintain their standing supremacy. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to talk about how FlyQuest were trying to 9-0. I had this whole thing with Cloud9 and brought in this shirt. It was the first shirt I was ever gifted by an org. But hey, TSM, they did the damn thing. They got the dub against FlyQuest yesterday. Good for them. But don't let one game fool you. It's still worth talking about FlyQuest dominance. Actually, can we talk about how exciting it is not just to see this roster shred the rift, but this org's major glow up? I mean, after branching from Cloud9 Challenger in 2017, FlyQuest spent years as the underperforming Snickers org in the LCS, before their biggest rebrand and uptick yet in 2020, complete with world-saving initiatives like Tree Quest, 2 back-to-back finals appearances, and a not too shabby 3-3 finish at Worlds. I think sometimes people forget about that play from home era, but oh, I remember. I felt so bad when Wild Turtle lost power mid-finals and the food in his fridge went bad. Damn. Well, anyways, since then, FlyQuest has had likable players, rosters punching above their weight, surpassing their value on paper, but it's been a few years since people discussed them as a title contender. Until now. To think this offseason, when Fly was playfully stomping rumors of selling their spot, is the same offseason where under new ownership, they assemble this redonkulous roster? Impact, former world champion, picked up for his locker room leader skills as described in FlyQuest content, and we know he smurfs as team leader. Spica, he did say in his roster announcement, "I just want to prove to fans that I can be the best, again." And boy, is the former MVP doing it. Vikla, a perfect representation of the new gen of mid laners, always looking for angles with a dynamic play style, gassed up by his teammate Prince, who's probably the most gassed up player in the entire league right now for damn good reason. He's got skill and personality, and you best believe we're gonna be talking about that double lift jersey exchange all split long. In support, we've got Winsome, stepping up big when doubted by many, redefining his identity in the LCS. And of course, it's ironic that Alo was one of the first to lock onto the FlyQuest roster, but will be one of the last to hit the stage. But maybe the fact that FlyQuest no longer has to worry about this perfect record business puts less pressure on the player swap. I also think it's worth mentioning non-player pickups like President and Chief Gaming Officer Papa Smithy, Head Coach Song, and Content Queen Ovally, demonstrating just how deep the new FlyQuest rivers run. And FlyQuest is still saving the world. The grass is greener on the FlyQuest side. There's so much to say about this team. I just hope you're as jazzed about this iteration of FlyQuest as I am. And don't worry, I've got plenty to say about CLG too, but I'm gonna save that for in-game. Speaking of which, it is time for me to run to the caster booth, so I will see you there, everyone. Roll the intro.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah.
You made it.
Woo. made it here for game number 1 of the day. What's up, Kobe?
I'm super excited for this one. CLG has had a really, really big start to Super Week, and FlyQuest just proved that they are mortals with their loss yesterday to TSM. So super excited to see who comes out on top today.
Yeah, maybe FlyQuest has a little extra fire on them if they didn't have enough already, because apparently it's Spica's birthday. Woo! Happy birthday to ya, Spica! 1 year older. What a difference can be made in
Not
a
a
year.
day over 68. Looking great, Spica.
Dude doesn't know what sunscreen is, apparently. But here he is. Prince, give me a kiss on the cheek. That's a pretty decent
I saw Prince streaming last night, actually, after the games. He wanted to get immediately back in there and start grinding. And it was extremely impressive stuff, just watching from his perspective and his inputs. Definitely a very entertaining stream as well. So he's got an axe to grind, wants to get back out on top. FlyQuest taking a loss, though, can sometimes be the thing that really just quickly refocuses your team, and reignites that fire that you're talking about. CLG, though, pretty good strategy coming into Super Week. I really like their focus. A lot of combinations with Contracts and Palafox specifically. The analyst S was talking about the Vi plus Taliyah combination, and that's exactly what TSM used to kill Prince. If you have a strategy coming in to attack that AD carry, it really does feel like that is the biggest threat of all the carries on FlyQuest, even though they have a lot of weapons.
That's why the narratives of both of these teams have changed so much just based on Super Week thus far, because zoning in even more on what CLG bring to the table. You said it, Kobe. They've got something in their pocket that can take the team down the only way they have been taken down thus far. But it's important to note how together they've looked. We know that CLG can have that synergy as a squad, and pushing through with the 3-0 in Super Week could do wonders for their momentum. A word I feel like we used for them a lot last year that maybe they're tired of in terms of momentum, but here it can definitely work in their favor.
So much bottom lane focus here from both teams in draft, trying to whittle down on that champion pool for both Prince and Luger. And Luger is definitely brought up as one of the most underrated players in the LCS currently. A lot of Sivir gameplay has gone around too. The Varus, the Sivir, both up here still. With the Lucian ban out, we won't get the Zeri Lulu Lucian Nami combination once again. So we're in for something spicy. We get the Zeri Lulu one side, or not the Lulu, because the Lulu's also banned. So it'll have to be Zeri plus another enchanter.
And for the underrated Luger, as you said, Zeri is definitely a powerful pick. Luger actually looked really good against Team Liquid earlier this league, and now he's going toe-to-toe with the most dominant bot laner in the league. And I think it's one of those things where we talked so much about Luger and Poom when they first came to the LCS because of their previously founded synergy and their times on 100 Thieves and on Academy.
200 years!
It's going to be on the opposite side. Prince coming through with the Felios. This is one of the picks that people really called out when thinking about how good Prince can look.
So Prince has used 7 different champions in 8 games. Now we're going to top it off with 8 here, bringing back the Aphelios. He has started to very slowly creep back in around the world. A couple of plays here and there in pro play. Super excited to see it, though. It is a champion, as far as AD carries go, that you don't want to have to dive into. And already with first 2 picks, FlyQuest, with the Maokai in addition to the Aphelios here, showing that they are going to have a lot of options if CLG are playing that CLG style, diving forward, charging at you. CLG, though, one of the biggest domino picks here for them, the Sejuani. They love playing melee solo laners, so having that Sejuani plus 2 melee solo laners has really been the secret to a lot of CLG success, and they get 1 here, presumably for Palafox in the mid lane. Dokla, of course, having back-to-back massive Aurelia games for the team so far this split.
Dokla, I love the confidence he's been coming in with this week, not just on the Rift, but on socials as well, backing it up with some banter. And yes.
And the skydiving pictures.
Yeah, I definitely give it to them for holding their lunch as much as possible with all that wind force. But when they're used to keeping their nerve about them on the stage, I'm sure it was easy peasy. And looking to make easy peasy work of FlyQuest if you're on the side of CLG as a fan.
So this is one of my preferred strategies for pick ban, is when you are on you know, red side grabbing that top laner and then doing 2 protection bans. So FlyQuest, they're able to grab Impact the Jax, big carry threat. He does have his own world skin for it. I've never seen him actually use it, but every time I cross my fingers and hope that it's going to happen. But then since you pick it on your 3rd pick in red side, you get 2 protection ban chances before Dokla gets to pick a counter pick into it. And they go for both the Renekton and the Fiora here to try and set Impact up for success.
Whittling down the options that CLG can lock in, especially considering how they want to set up alongside this Sejuani, having already locked in that Sylas. And we'll see what else they can bring through. Thresh has come through a little bit as well. Got some play this week thus far. We're starting to see the trickles in the shifts in support position and beyond.
Yeah, Winsome not having the greatest Thresh game there, so maybe some FlyQuest fans are happy to see, okay, he won't be self-rooting himself with his death sentence and dropping any more plays there. But it is one of the champions that can keep Aphelios safe. You're always thinking, this Aphelios, the big weakness, obviously, does not have a dash of his own, so will be denied that Lantern, and they drop the Yone for Vikla, baby!
Vikla switching things up, had the Jace, even though it didn't go as well last time around, now coming through with the Yone.
Yeah, Jace is not gone for anybody. For anybody here in North America. We get the Annie back again and a Gangplank, another melee solo laner here for CLG. Really excited to see this Annie play again with the recent buffs. Even though it was hotfix pretty quickly nerfed, still a massive, massive improvement for the champion and gives you so many playmaking options. Gangplank ultimate from top side, CLG saying, hey, we can play around bottom side. We don't have to play around Dokla on top side as a single carry threat. His ult bottom plus an Annie. Tibbers level 6 with some stuns. They have a lot of options. Contracts and Palafox both have set up a lot of bottom lane dives. So we'll see. Can CLG deliver FlyQuest another loss, or FlyQuest going to bounce right back on top?
That's what FlyQuest are aiming for, bringing in the Tahm Kench to keep that Aphelios protected, rounding that out. And I don't know, what are you favoring here, Kobe? CLG, FlyQuest, taking any CLG leanings out of it?
Well, I mean, FlyQuest, I think, should definitely beat favorites coming into this matchup regardless. I do like the exciting draft here from CLG, though. I can see a lot of the tools that they have already successfully used, even just this week. And we'll see if they can continue on that strategy, especially if they're able to get a lot of focus towards the bottom side of the map and take down Prince. But Prince obviously going to be forced to go with the cleanse. There's so many stuns here. Sejuani, Sylas, Annie, all in his face. So with the flash, with the cleanse, with the Tahm Kench, FlyQuest can keep him upright. He will definitely chop down the competition.
The priority to FlyQuest definitely clear with what they have brought through in the draft. I know that CLG would be so happy to end this Super Week with a 3-0 for the remainder of this round robin. But I'm excited. It's Friday. It is a themed day here at the LCS as well. So we are rocking and rolling, getting on to the Rift. But one thing when talking about what CLG is bringing through with the draft, they brought out the Annie earlier this week, and then now once again, is whether it's this roster this year or last year or even some of the other iterations prior to that, it feels like this is a team that is always willing to look at the upcoming patch and see what they can bring through before anyone else. And Annie is a prime example of that.
Yeah, I love the willingness of this team to play the champions that they are just good at, even if they are not necessarily the most meta, as seen by, you know, a lot of their double assassin solo lane compositions. And as well, like you're talking about, jumping on whatever is new in the patch notes that could be OP before the balance team gets a chance to, you know, correct it too far. We'll see if it actually ends up, you know, taking effect this time around. One of the big things for Annie, of course, is that she does get to start with her stun now. No vision, though, currently. See if there's a delayed invade, because Palafox is dangerously close.
Oh, he's there. He was trying to get them to throw out what they got for FlyQuest, but did make the turn quick enough. And has contracts near on by, going for it, has to flash away, so FlyQuest do manage to get the summoner.
Yeah, that is actually the worst of both worlds there. Palafox really did not want to flash, and so he holds it, hoping that, you know, contracts W slow is going to be enough to peel for him. But because he holds it so long, and greeds it a little bit there. FlyQuest are able to get the damage on him, chunking out, what is that, like 600 health almost taken total. He's got no potions left, just his Doran's shield. And he has no flash. So he's a level 1 Sylas with no potions. He's just gonna have to wait for his biscuits to arrive to try and sustain here versus Vikla, and he has no flash. That is a giant target on your back. Sylas is always trying to trade his health, for minions early on here, and should mean that Vikla has supreme dominance in the mid lane for the early stages. So much so, Spica being able to finish up the counter jungle on Raptors, plus red, and then just cross right back through vision, through mid lane to go to his Raptors in red, alerting Contracts to know, guess what? You are going to be starving a little bit this game.
It's not something that just put the ankle weights on Palafox. It affects the way that Contracts has to approach these next minutes. But I know the audience is here for CLG. Big Dokes energy right there on the signs. Have you had any favorite signs so far?
I really like the one on the first day of Super Week where I was casting with Captain Flowers and someone asked Flowers if he would be their sugar daddy.
And he didn't say no!
And it just stun locked him. Very rare to be able to stun lock Captain Flowers, but I witnessed it live. See if bottom lane can get stun lock here. They should know though. Contracts literally only had Krugs up. He has to be bottom.
He's here going for the slow onto Prince. Luger in pursuit, but Prince flashing away now. Winsome putting his body between himself and the rest. And Tahm Kench, dangerous burn on him. First blood to Luger.
Honestly, if I'm Spica, I'm kind of pissed at my bottom lane here. You know that Contracts has to be bottom. There's no other camps that he could be going to. He goes from Krugs, he gets a successful bottom lane gank off on Prince, puts him behind, gets the Scuttle Crab before being harassed and pushed out by the Maokai. But that is such an amazing recovery here from the CLG jungler. Contracts is able to go straight bottom, runs right past those Krugs, gets down to Winsome and Prince. Boom, you can see the Annie. Got the slow onto Prince pretty early, and then Winsome sacrifices himself, flashing in front of Contracts. It does deny that kill being on Prince, but it's still extra money for CLG. Still means that FlyQuest bottom lane loses out on the extra pressure.
And all of the summoners expelled for the FlyQuest bottom lane as well during that time. So some caution that they will have to take moving forward. A couple, of course, for CLG too. In mid lane, some swings onto Palafox. Knows that he has some friends nearby in the jungle if necessary.
Support roams, baby. They are powerful. Poom on the move with Contracts. Lot of CC in that duo. But Spica, thankfully for FlyQuest, was able to get the crab before and get out. Contracts, he queued into the pit and then walked, hugging the top side of the pit to avoid that Scuttle Crab vision. Even with those shenanigans, though, avoiding vision still is sniffed out by Impact.
Drops the ward over on that top side, so Impact definitely knows how to play very carefully when lacking the knowledge of the enemy jungler here. But when talking about Annie just moving up all that way, how do you expect the roams here on the Annie with Poom to compare to some of the other supports we have seen in the league thus far this split?
Annie's one of the best roaming supports we have in the game. It all depends if you can get time for Annie to roam, though. Roam windows are what you need to look for. Helping ganking bottom is the first step. Getting that Annie some time to be able to move where Luger is safe. Does have his flash. Looks like a couple of close trades here on the top side of the map, but not gonna be any blood just yet until Contracts arrives. Maybe he's gonna do a little bit of a lane gank here. Impact does jump in.
Oh yeah, gets the leaping strike. Got him. Inside, bashed in the face by Contracts.
Really good job there by Dokla, baiting Impact in, giving him a nice little juicy gangplank to jump onto. He gets the bait successfully. Boom, though, with the attempted roam up the river.
Uses the Pyromania stun to try and create some distance, but Winsome going undertow and up above. They put Boom right in the center of that triangle for his own death.
Wandering Annie gets instantly taken down for the rebuttal from FlyQuest. Also gives them control over the dragon. So we had a recall from Luger inside the jungle. Zeri all the way back to base. Means Prince with his white gun is able to get a turret plate, and they're going to get a dragon off of it. FlyQuest always so good at retaining focus on the objectives, even if something like, you know, the Contract's lane gank up top side catches Impact off guard, they've dropped down a kill, they still remain focused, they go for their bottom side play, they get their cross map, and it's even more value for them, getting the kill plus the dragon and a turret plate for their AD carry.
A right read on the room when talking about how great at roaming Andy is when finding the windows. That also gives the opportunity to punish when caught out in that way. So FlyQuest making sure that CLG don't get too much of an avalanche in gold or anything beyond. Plenty of wards right across that line of scrimmage in the Dragonside River after acquiring that first Drake for themselves. So keeping that objective focus that you mentioned, and CLG still planning to build their power elsewhere, falling behind in the lanes though in CS.
Yeah, it's definitely something you need to keep in mind as a jungler whenever you're going to go for a topside gank. If you're going for a topside gank before 8 minutes, then you have to realize you could be giving up the cross map for a dragon and not getting an objective back in your favor in exchange, because Rift Herald free 8 minutes won't be there for you to take. So now Contracts, once it has spawned, heads on up there, and because of his top lane gank, Dokla has the advantage here over Impact. Impact down to 50% HP, and they're actually going to go for it. Spica, blast cones in.
He's here, throws down the ultimate, wants to get the lock onto 2, but ends up missing both. Impact also on the collapse, and Vikla burned on down, ults into the backline of them all. Contracts marked down low, but it's Dokla that's the first to fall in this exchange. A stun up onto Impact, gets punished in the process. Contracts, no flash as it was previously used. FlyQuest wants to get Palafox after he flashes over the wall, manages to get some slaps on him. Double kill for Vikla.
The Rift Herald wants to see some blood, and the Rift Herald gets what it wants. Everybody down except for Vikla. What a collapse here from FlyQuest. Spica goes over really early on the blast cone, and double solo laners coming in. Vikla starts it out on the Yone, going in with his E, and gets focused by CLG, but they're unable to burst him down. And so they win the bit of the skirmish here for FlyQuest. Here's another look at it. Spica starts out with his Maokai ultimate, which actually gets dodged because it's pointing towards topside. But then there's the focus on Vikla. Everything from CLG. He snaps back and flashes after his E. So he's able to escape while they take down the Gangplank here. And without Dokla, not going to be able to finish up on the skirmish. Spica then falling with his W into tower range. Just barely locked up for a little bit too long there by the E2 from Palafox. Got stunned at tower.
Meanwhile, down on the bot side, Luger is playing Zeri, so you do have some mobility to get out of these tight binds that Aphelios decides to descend upon you. But over on top, Impact leaping away with this 2v2. We have seen so often Spica using the vision they've been granted over on bot side to be able to match and answer contracts when he's making rotations and vice versa.
Yeah. One big thing too off of that Rift Herald play, it should be noted, yes, CLG got out quicker back onto the map and picked up the Rift Herald, but also because they used their first Gangplank ultimate in that skirmish on top side, they can't use it on bottom side, and so top side is going to be camped by Contracts.
Impact, once again, the subject of CLG. They were trying to make it happen, and now they did. A kill in CLG's favor.
See, they picked the Gangplank on oh, maybe they won't be playing around Dokla. Maybe they'll play around bottom side with Gangplank ultimate. Nope, Contracts still camps top side.
Contracts fallen into a little bit of action with Spica and Vikla. So it's almost one of those things that you think of when, okay, Gangplank ultimate has so much reach, probably means prioritizing that pressure elsewhere, but CLG saying, nah, we're still gonna keep to our strategy. Palafox taking a lot of damage here though, and use the hijack and beyond to get out.
Yeah, this is set up to be Vikla's game. He got such a big advantage off the level 1 where they chunked out Palafox down to like 150 HP, blew his flash early. You know, Vikla's on the Yone, big playmaking champion, finds Annie.
Wants to keep going, and that's the thing about Yone is when you have Soul Unbound, and especially that combo whenever Fate Sealed is up, it's difficult to imagine your team getting out of reach of the power that Vikla will be able to dish out.
Yeah, especially with him picking up the extra kills from the Rift Herald play. Big item on the list for CLG is going to be how can we contain this mid lane. There is currently teleport advantage for Vikla as well, while Spica is heading bottom side to try and push Luger off this wave, and they just call their Yone down. Vikla only has to come halfway down through the jungle, and CLG's bottom lane, you see them giving up access to this minion wave. It is a cannon minion wave on tower, and it's going to be another tower plate for Prince.
One of the difficulties there when you have Luger and Poon push back is, yes, there's this great stun that you can do with Annie, but it's also so visible when that stun is even available. So on FlyQuest's side, knowing that they can continue to pressure them down, lots of plates already eliminated here past the 12-minute mark in the mid and bottom lane, because Vikla, no issue with playing aggressively onto Palafox.
And it looks like that bottom lane focus with their roam from Vikla plus the kind of hover there from Spica is going to result in Dragon number 2 picked up for them. So while the gold is pretty close, and of course you have to take into account the added gold from Gangplank passive being generated by CLG, the 2 dragons here for FlyQuest are looking pretty nice.
Which means it's an Ocean Soul that'll eventually be up for grabs coming on to the Rift here, but CLG managing to keep that gold, even though, yes, there's a lot of dominance on the actual objective play from FlyQuest. But what would you say of the current state of these two teams, considering the comps that they brought through and what's expected as we're pressing into that 14-minute mark soon?
I mean, we're going to have, first of all, a nice engagement from Vikla pushing out mid. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be about FlyQuest's mid jungle and what CLG can do on the side lanes instead. So Vikla's going to keep on pressuring Palafox, chunks him out super heavily again, and now he's got freedom. So whenever you have mid lane priority, FlyQuest looking to make it spill over. They've tried to keep Impact afloat here on the top side because Contracts has been camping him for so long, and with the Rift Herald on top side, it almost takes down the turret, but
the return of Sejuani to answer the ultimate by Spica, and they continue to go on down. Dokla into stasis under the cannon barrage, and now getting some more slices because Vikla said, yup, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be everywhere to get the kills. Another 1 4 and 3-0-1 on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part in this game. If you don't have mid prow like that, Yone roaming very, very fearsome. He gets up there, they get the kill. Still, the turret was taken by CLG. Contracts is going to run into one of those annoying saplings here, so Impact should be able to get out no problem. But CLG getting the gold, getting the extra territory on the map by actually taking down the turret might be an avenue for them.
That first turret for CLG, FlyQuest looking to answer with that bot side turret now for themselves. A lot of that pressure that they were able to implement on the bot side to answer Contract's presence over on that top side. Really identifying their win condition in this game between Dragons and that pressure.
3 kills now for Vikla Yone. With the extra BF sword on top of the shield bow, quite a lot of DPS, and Yone pretty happy about the acceleration towards his Infinity Edge. Now, in the long lane, it's going to be pretty difficult to deal with him. He's got Unleashed Teleport, and FlyQuest can rotate their Tahm Kench here through to the mid lane. You keep Prince safe, plus you threaten pretty quick roams yourself. CLG now, the #1 priority, try and get your defensive vision up so you can actually see these moves from FlyQuest. If you allow these rotations too quickly from FlyQuest, you're just going to continue to get picked off, continue to bleed gold here.
It's one of those points where you want to create advantage of your own. That's what they're trying to do here. Winsome flashing out in response to the ultimate lockdown, and the grass coming through from Spica as well. The Tiber's thrown out too, but no one's going to die just yet. There were enough retreat paths available, even have the control down here when Spica was trying to creep up from the opposite side. But the second Rift Herald is up. FlyQuest are the first to rotate to it with the vision afforded to them. Meanwhile, still keeping up that pressure in mid lane with this dwindling turret.
Yep, Aphelios able to annihilate the minion wave, no problem. We even have impact on Jax. After shoving out bottom lane, is able to come pressure towards mid. FlyQuest, because they've got access to all these minion waves, just corralling CLG in their own territory, doing a very good job here and trying to continue to extend their lead in the game. They retake the very, very marginal gold lead, but pretty importantly, get that Rift Herald #2 off of the map, pick it up for themselves so they continue this tower destruction.
Just trying to break down as much as they can. Palafox with the hijack ultimate. Throwing it down, gets the root, but Vikla just so strong at this point. Wherever he finds the fight with Palafox is still able to show a decent amount of dominance, slashing against him under this turret here.
All right, reset here pretty quickly for FlyQuest. Prince back out on the field. He's close to Infinity Edge, doesn't quite have enough to finish it on this back. But heading out here with Gale Force, he is definitely one of the players that most offensively uses these Gale Force actives. He buys Gale Force on most every AD carry. Very excited to see what he's able to pull off it. We've had some real big Aphelios highlights, especially here with this item, and with Spica having ultimate available on Maokai and Dragon number 3 about to spawn. You have to think FlyQuest gonna get some saplings and river control here for themselves and advance the Dragon, and then set up for a big Maokai ultimate.
Oh, a Bucks land, and I mean, Shelby's still going at the turret here. With most of the teams joined here on the bot side, I think it is important to call out things like that Gale Force, right? The same way when we're looking at stopwatches and beyond, there's a reason that champions like Aphelios, like Jhin, and all the like started building this item when it came through, offering a sense of mobility and a very immobile champion. So suddenly when you think you're getting the lockdown on one of the most prominent threats for FlyQuest, he has an escape mechanism, especially with that active currently available. Of course, a completed item on the opposite side for Luber, but still working into that next power spike. CLG don't want to step up to this Dragon take, so it is sole point for FlyQuest with a 1.2k gold lead here past 18 minutes.
I hear the CLG faithful in the audience here trying to keep that faith alive. The defense, we did defense chants for them right now because the map is closing in around on them. FlyQuest, as we said, moving ahead their tower destruction as well as picking up Dragon number 3, successfully taking down all outer defenses of CLG, makes it really difficult for them to pick their moment. So CLG right now, they're looking at when can we get close enough on items with our carries to be able to choose our moment and just all in. We have Annie Sejuani. You get them with a Gangplank ultimate for the slow. You flash in with the Annie, try and get a large engagement there, pick some people off, and you have to explosively blow open a window back into this game for yourself. Otherwise, FlyQuest will continue to push in on you. Vikla now on the top side, though. He's the chosen one.
Surrounded by 3, and CLG want to defy what he has accomplished thus far over the wall. Falls to Palafox.
All right, CLG trying to blow open a hole back into this game. They choose Vikla, the Fed Yone. They take him down. They get the bounty. Really nice flash from Contracts, flashing in front of the ultimate from Yone so that he's not going to go the full distance. Will stop on the champion. And because of that, forces the flash out of Vikla, followed by Palafox. Much needed money here. And getting it into the Sylas with 2 stacks on the Rod of Ages, closing in. Couple more minutes here for him, and maybe that will be the moment that CLG can try and peak and actually come in time for this Dragon. With 3 minutes on that timer, it might line up quite nicely for themselves, because giving away the soul would be a real heartbreaker for them, so they have to rally around. Annie still having stun is a really big one too. That last play only took the flashes of Contracts and Palafox to accomplish, and being able to have the Annie stun for the Dragon fight with a big flash, definitely a moment where Poom could take it back.
Definitely one of my favorite ARAM plays, though. You get the snowball with Annie as well, and you can just get right in there, get the stun up, and accomplish all you need. But that's why that flash has a little extended value when it comes to Annie specifically, to be able to set up the rest of the play, even sacrifice your life when necessary.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is that it is an AoE stun. So even if Winsome is there for the Tahm Kench to be able to eat someone, you're going to stun everybody, including the Tahm Kench, and delay that defensive maneuver. You have to keep in mind, of course, Prince has taken Cleanse this game, seeing all the CC in front of his face. So you're going to have to work through that and account for that as well ahead of time. But if they can use it to kill either of those solo lane carries, then that could definitely set them up. Meanwhile, Vikla wants to remind you that he is still the super fed one in this game. Pushes up, side lane priority for him. I think FlyQuest correctly keeping up their 1-3-1 pressure. Jack split push on top side, Vikla on bottom side, keeping CLG again kind of pinned up on their own side of the map so that their vision starts to dwindle.
And speaking of that dwindling vision that FlyQuest has ensured to be decreasing for CLG, they're on the Baron right now. CLG have this intel. There's still a teleport available for Vikla. 2 teleports coming on through. The cannon coming down for Dokla as well. Some chunks on, but it is FlyQuest getting the Baron. Answered with a hijack. Winsome goes down. Vikla ults out of the equation, so CLG only taking down a support thus far, and all the purple that FlyQuest are donning remain for the rest of the 4.
Yeah, they burned it right down. CLG, even with the couple of wards there towards the Scuttle Crab, are a little bit too late. FlyQuest are able to burn it down, and only sacrificing Winsome, only the support is definitely a good trade for FlyQuest. So now with Baron buff, they're going to be able to get back out there. Winsome up in 1 second here, will be able to arrive for the Dragon as well. CLG correctly being able to get a little bit more out of it and taking mid turret, some gold for themselves. Plus they now have the vision advantage.
Oh, the stun, but that's the thing when it comes to Vikla and Prince, as you identified the 2 people that CLG really have to worry about and what they have in their arsenal to try and escape some of the bursts that CLG want to throw down, and they want to go for more right now. Vikla starting to get it, but he gets a shutdown onto Palafox instead. Contracts knocked up, knocked down. The anti-Tibbers response, and soon that power goes down, down, down. Contracts eliminated. 2 for CLG. FlyQuest coming out on top in the fight.
Yeah, FlyQuest coming out on top, all right. Their rewards for coming out on top should be the Dragon Soul. Vikla here with the Soul Unbound is kind of delaying.
I feel like Yone players just love being able to sling in and out in that way. Very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason FlyQuest won that fight in the mid lane is because Vikla had the kind of Matador play where Dokla steals Yone ultimate and charges right for Vikla, but Vikla just Soul Unbound a little bit to the side, dodges out on it, and then they just blow up Palafox.
And I think off of that individual play being highlighted, FlyQuest worked very well as a team to just keep their focus on these objectives, get themselves the soul right now, an Ocean Soul at that. And even though the gold hasn't been this monumentous moment, it's a steady crawl for them, trying to get the finish off onto Dokla. Vikla, I think he's feeling himself. I think he's feeling real good on this Yone.
He certainly is. I love some of the interviews with FlyQuest members on stage afterwards, too. They're so supportive of their teammates. And Prince was talking about trying to find ways to encourage Vikla to be more confident in his play. Well, this game is going to be just that. He's definitely been confident today, and rightfully so. 5-1-2 on that Yone. Massive level 1 start for him with that invade and with that advantage, and he was successfully able to pair up with Spica, influence the side lanes, come over, get a bunch of those picks, and push the game forward.
Even if this isn't the week that it happens, because there's so many factors that come into play, Prince, in his Player of the Week interview he did with Jat, was talking about how, yes, he wants to keep getting them, but wants to see other teammates getting them as well, and called out Vikla as the first he would like to see do so, because he is just a strong player and what he brings to the team. And I think we're seeing that on full display here on the Yone. But all the while, FlyQuest feeling good with what they have accomplished thus far, continuing to venture on forward on this map. For CLG, though, are there any angles that you can identify for them and how they should be approaching these next few minutes? No longer have Baron buff to worry about, but are pretty pushed into their base.
Yeah, you've always got the, pray for late angle. That is the fallback for every team that is down Dragon Soul at 25 minutes in. You're thinking, don't worry, it's okay. You just got to keep telling each other, we're fine, we scale, play for late. You got to hope for that big team fight. The problem is, of course, always that you are going to be pinned up in a really small area here. So it's hard to get a surprise on your opponents, as FlyQuest are doing a very good job once again. 1-3-1, pushing them in, not overextending though. To give anyone up, and you kind of just have to go for it. You have to have everyone just charge forward, overload one side, get your pick, and hopefully you can do that quick enough that the other parts of the map don't fall to FlyQuest, because in a straight up fight, FlyQuest are definitely going to dominate.
And that's the difficulty, as you see on your screen, what FlyQuest can do even when not mounted as a whole crew. Vikla, the subject of Luger right now. Luger over the wall, flashes forward for the final burst fire. Woo! Putting only the second death into FlyQuest's mid laner's pocket, but a death at that as FlyQuest continue to entrench upon this mid lane. A little bit of a tickle onto the inhibitor, but not enough to finish it just yet.
Big Dokes here, barely able to survive on the outside and allowing Luger to flash in and get themselves another kill onto Vikla, another shutdown here. That's about all COG have been able to scrounge together since FlyQuest have fully taken control, but that's how you have to attack it. Attack that side lane, attack the split champion. If FlyQuest are gonna play all 3 lanes, see what you can get on one of them.
Grants yourself a sense of reprieve when you can take someone down like Vikla in this particular matchup. Define the condition that CLG want to lean into.
And Zeri here, Luger, with that shutdown money, is starting to look like a pretty scary Zeri. We've got Dokla already 3 core items on the gangplank, so you know and you dream of those big barrel chains. If you can get one of those back onto Prince, get them some nice zoning work done in this team fight, then the Zeri is prime for cleaning them up. It's going to be very difficult, of course, to be able to find that positioning. As you highlight all these wards here from FlyQuest, they've got the entire map lit up, and CLG having a very scary time trying to protect against another sneak Baron from FlyQuest.
A sneaky, that's exactly what happens. You get that Nature's Grasp right over the wall because of that vision afforded. They're locking down onto Impact, who goes into stasis himself. But CLG are backed out of it. Tibber is about to be burned down. So a slight fight for a moment, but FlyQuest still in the river positioning and can move forward on their own.
And if it is an extended fight here, of course, this Ocean Soul for FlyQuest does a lot of work, healing them right back up. They've got Maokai saplings in every single brush. Shield G, they just have to push forward, brute force it.
Yep, Impact with teleport available will be coming into that bot side. Boom getting chunked down. Vikla into the back with the ultimate, starts to slash. Contracts is the first subject, but actually it is Boom, the first to fall. They've taken down the jungler, and Palafox immediately upon stopwatching falls as well. CLG is big. Dokes, you better be big when you're the only one standing on the map and you got Vikla upon you. But FlyQuest, they see that line, they see that avenue into the base right now, and they ain't afraid of Dokla.
Yep, FlyQuest delivered the killing blow, baiting around Baron, turning out the lights, and it's Dokla versus the entire team.
Dokla just with his little gangplank self in the fountain for FlyQuest. Ain't no loss, gonna keep them down, bouncing back against the Surgeon. CLG, 8th dub of the round robin.
Well done for FlyQuest securing themselves first place after the first round robin. No one can catch them. Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 are the closest at 6 wins. They get one more here today, can get that second place, but FlyQuest will remain #1 in the LCS, only dropping the single game in the first round robin to TSM yesterday.
And sometimes that single game can get some people weak in the knees when they're watching. Oh, what are we witnessing? But nope, still same FlyQuest, still same domination, still same clear game plan from start to finish here.
Really big benefits from that level 1 invade, I have to say. Getting a lot of health, getting a flash advantage as well. But it's not just that. The Rift Herald fight, picking up the extra kills and being able to snowball here. Nice to see Vikla really stepping up as a big carry force for this team, constantly pushing on the side lanes, even after getting picked off a couple times. Still keeps up that pressure, and FlyQuest are able to use it to completely take over vision control of the map.
And based on some of the vibes on the stage, I'm sure CLG were really looking forward to a potential 3-0 this week, but it was still a 2-1 off of that after an 0-4 streak prior to week number 4. So a lot of positives to be taken away with from this week, despite getting the loss here against FlyQuest. Vikla showing us how he can flex not just in game, but outside of it.
Big stuff from this team. They're shaping up to be so scary because everyone has agreed Prince, best AD carry in the league. Don't have to worry about him. And it's a magnifying glass, and I feel like every other member of the team and looking at how they all really play together. Spica has been so good at enabling these lanes. So good on, I don't know why he gets Maokai every single game, feels like. He might have the most Maokai gameplays of any jungler in the league. But we also know, as the meta starts to change and the upcoming nerfs that they have slated for the champion, he's very good on carry champions too. Excited to see where jungle goes from here.
We've only gotten to see the sliver of him between the Maokai and the Sejuani and the Amumu, all very much that I'm willing to be the tank for the team and make the plays.
He plays what's meta. He plays what's OP. If it has high win rate, Spica's in there.
And that's what champions are made of, right? Not just playing to something specifically for themselves, but what the team and the meta are calling for. And we talk so much about Prince, yes, and having this very clear star carry, but it is important to note what Vikla was able to do, the way that Impact can create or withstand pressure on the map when CLG are still trying to play to that top side and make stuff happen. That's what allows your carries to shine.
Certainly is, certainly is. This team definitely shaping up to be very good. Heading towards the second round robin. Of course, happy that CLG had such a good start to this Super Week. Very impressive stuff from them, and I like that they do stay to their style. That does have a lot of assassin gameplay, that does have a lot of side lane gameplay, and being able to successfully win with Aurelia, back-to-back, inspiring, hopefully, more teams to pick some more variation in champs.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see some things switching up once we get into that second round robin. Before we head down to the stage, though, I'm going to say congratulations to those of you who earned bonus points on the LCS/Sleeper app for having this week's top performers in your lineups. I'm excited because I haven't met Cutie Cinderella, actually. This is as close as I've gotten. Hi, I think you're pretty cool, and I'm really happy that you're here, and Spica's pretty cool, too, so let's go ahead and hear what y'all have to say.
Hello and welcome. We're on stage with FlyQuest jungler Spica and Birthday Boy.
Thank you.
We brought you a cake. I don't know how you're supposed to hold that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Happy birthday. How old are you turning today, Spica?
22.
Oh my gosh. So you're going to retire soon?
I'm an esports boomer officially, I think.
Well, awesome. So you guys are 8-1.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be the best in the league right now?
I mean, unfortunately, we're 9-0, not 9-0, but honestly, I'll take it because last split, I was maybe 1-8. I don't remember, but so it's a lot better.
It's a better year this year, and maybe 22 is going to be your best year. No one on the FlyQuest roster has played together before this year. How do you think the team synergy is working?
I mean, I think we're working really, really well
together. You don't hate anybody yet?
I don't hate anybody yet.
Good.
Not yet.
That's really
good. So far,
good.
everybody's tolerable.
Okay.
But I think everyone has like great personalities. We get along really, really well. So, I'm really happy.
Oh, good. I think we've all been wondering after that viral clip of Prince yesterday, have you broken the news to him that Sneaky and Sivir Sneaky are not dating?
There's a viral clip.
Yeah. He reacted to, Prince reacted to a clip of Sneaky dressed as Sivir, and he was a little confused about their relationship.
But he liked it.
Who doesn't?
I mean, I will tell you one thing. This morning, right? It's my birthday. He came up and he hugged me and gave me a kiss on the cheek.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's
That's that team synergy that we're talking about.
That's team bonding right there.
FlyQuest has it different than the rest of them. I'll say it.
I mean, that's why we look so close together,
Yeah.
It's bromance.
Well, is there any advice you'd give to the team that you just beat?
Oh wow, that's kind of BM, no?
I know.
We just beat them. We're like, yeah, you could. I mean, just
help them out. It's a tough season.
I mean, I think CLG has played really well together. I think if they keep it up, they are definitely on the way to become a really, really good team. They just need to play their style,
Yeah.
I think they're just a really, really interesting team. The way they play the game is very refreshing. I would say they have their own unique style, so I'm really happy to see where they go from here.
And the only team you did lose to this week or last week was TSM. What went wrong?
What went wrong? I mean, everything, I think.
Oh.
Honestly. I mean, I'm not really too sad over the loss. I think it's just an off day for us. I think we just weren't really focused. And at least for me, I feel like it's like a wake-up call, It's like, hey, you got to take every game. You just got to be desperate for every win. So I think today our energy was higher. We were trying a lot harder in comp. So hopefully we persist through the other 9 games.
And do you have any plans for your birthday, or do you just plan on playing all day?
I was gonna play, but I have a dinner date with my girlfriend.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, I believe that is I have one more question for you. Last time I was here, you made a cake of Yumi crying, right?
Yes, that was great.
Do you think it was okay?
Okay.
Do you think you're responsible for Yumi getting nerfed to the ground?
I mean, you're welcome, I guess. I mean, I'm doing everyone in the League community a favor, you know, getting Yumi nerfed, so should get a medal.
Well, that is it. That is it from us.
It's a
plenty more LCS coming up. Yeah, you can take a bite if you want.
Do I get to keep the plate as well, or actually, I don't like chocolate, but
I'm never making you anything again. No,
I'll take a bite.
Okay.
I'll take a bite. So
I didn't get you a fork, so yeah, just go for it. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, it's good.
It's okay.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Thank you. You play good too.
Thank you.
I've said that.
Thank you. Your interviews are great too.
You are
thank you.
Great too. Anyway, right back after this break, we've got Immortals and EG.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Sorry about that. Well, my name is Rafa. Welcome here to Late Night Hours at the LCS Lounge, where at least it's midnight somewhere in the world. Am I right? Well, we got regular Emily Rand here, sharing another one of her great pieces. This time, it's called Vikla.
Thank you. Ide Kwang, a great light. Hinadun Upchok, despite moving to another country, another culture, in the prime of his career. Karire Jonsongki, reigning LCK rookie, in solo queue used to one-trick Pantheon, now brings that energy to everything he carries on. Mid-chai, so high, goodbye. See you in the next lobby. Limit upsaw, with room to grow. Enjoy the show. More than just a job, he aggressively and energetically defies the imagination. Consider this my inadequately expressed appreciation.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to work with you, Emily Rand. Now, we need some newcomers up here on the... Oh, okay, well, I haven't seen you before, but what's your name, brother?
Name is not important.
All right, Mr. Hotshot. All right. Well, what do you got for us today?
575.
Okay, 575. You got a specific beat you want for it?
Whatever you feel, I'll make it work.
Oh, whatever I feel. Well, keep up, rookie.
League championship. Spring split. Does it matter much? Reddit will decide.
Are you gonna say anything more?
That's all I had to say.
I mean, I don't know what you were going for, but it was kind of cool, and I'm grooving here. All right. Look, you don't have anything more.
That's it.
Please don't come back here again.
Red Bull gives you wings. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Hmm?